What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. This podcast, the D-League podcast, is all about personal development. If you're the type of person that is in sales and business, but you are in a relationship, a committed relationship, fiance, dating, married, and you want to be a better version of yourself for that person, this episode just might help you. So let's get into it. So one of the things that I've realized that has helped me in my business is having a significant other that supports me. But the challenge that I had with my wife in general is having the support the way that I need the support. So we went through a tough time where I didn't know how to communicate my feelings, how I felt, and that affected my business because we would get into an argument, and what most people think an argument stems from is from the thing that they're arguing about. And it took a lot of deep work for us to realize that we were arguing about a certain thing, but it really stemmed from something under many, many layers that didn't even get to that. And then after that argument at 7 a.m., at 6 a.m., and now I need to go sell houses. And only thing I'm thinking about is I'm irritated. Somebody cuts me off. The person that cut me off isn't even that big of a deal. But now it's just, it's these little things that are being added on top of the argument that I had. And then I get to the office and something happens there, or a client is unhappy, or a client is calling me back to back. Now I'm irritated because now I just got in, and then I spill coffee on my shirt. It's just these little things that, like, over time you're like, bro, like, why is all this stuff happening? And it's compounding. But it's not the coffee that bothered me the most. It's not the person that cut me off. It's not the client. It stemmed back to the relationship that I have with my wife. And then we got into this argument, but then the argument that we actually had isn't even the issue. It's the lack of support that I felt. But how is she supposed to know how to support me when I don't even know how to tell her how I feel supported? So when we speed up the process and we zoom out and we're like, all right, now let's go from the actual argument that we had to the layer of things that happen in life that we have no control over. And we zoom out and look at all these things. They're so meaningless. They're so meaningless. Like, the person that's cutting you off they could be somebody losing somebody in their family. They could be going through something extremely traumatizing. I was leaving Whole Foods the other day, and as I turned out, there was a woman turning in, and she was bawling, like tears. She didn't cut me off. It was anything. I just could see through her windshield. And it literally made me realize that we never know what people are going through, what they're carrying. So the person that cut you off, you don't know why they cut you off in that moment. But we're so selfish and thinking about ourselves that that person inconvenienced us. That person wronged us. But it was like, what if we had grace and compassion to understand that, hey, this person could be carrying something that if we were in that same position, we would want the same exact thing. Hey guys, I want to take a quick break from the podcast to let you know that this coming Wednesday, I'm doing a free masterclass, how to break into luxury real estate. If you've ever been wondering, how do real estate agents sell higher priced homes? I'm giving away 3 secrets this coming Wednesday. And if you want more information, just click the link in the description below. But without getting too far off and going down the deep end of grace and compassion, when I looked at why I could not communicate my feelings, it had nothing to do with the argument. It had everything to do with my ability to be a better leader. It's not my fault that my wife is not supporting me the way that I want to be supported, but it's my responsibility. I'm the leader of my house. So now, hey, I am having trouble feeling supported. And then she asked me, how do I feel supported? I couldn't even answer the question because I didn't know how to feel supported. And then I realized, like, wait a minute. It's not that I don't even know how to communicate to feel supported. It's all I've seen from the last 30 years of my life is my mother worked 2 jobs. She left early in the morning and she left late at night. She came back late at night. So it was instilled in me at a very young age, we have to work for what we want. I started working when I was 13 years old. So my objective is to go make money. So my wife didn't feel like supporting me because she was screaming out for my time. I would leave early in the morning, 4 a.m. I'm going to the gym. I'm motivated. I'm inspired. I'm coming back. I'm going to events. I'm networking. I'm door knocking. I'm holding open houses, and I'm coming back exhausted, like nothing left. I'm giving everything else my attention, my ability, my talent, and I'm coming back and giving my wife, my first ministry, the person that's most important to me, my leftovers. I'm asking her to give me, and I'm giving her nothing. Going to make money, great. 100% do it. But at what cost? I'm not being a dad, I'm not being a husband, and I'm giving my leftovers to the people that matter the most. Complete strangers are getting the best of me, but the people that care about me the most are getting the least of me. Why am I doing that? And then I have the nerve to ask my wife to support me in that? How foolish. How foolish. And I think most people, if we could start getting under those layers and understanding why we are the way that we are and the things that are leading us in the direction that is detrimental. Like, how did I even get here? If we just zoom out and retrace our steps and we look at it, we're like, oh, it's actually me. It's not my partner. I have to take, it may not be my fault, but it's my responsibility. So then I started to look at a different aspect of it. I said, all right, if I want my wife to support me, how can I support my wife? I need to be there for my kids, not as a dad, because obviously I need to be there for my kids. My wife has abandonment issues. My wife grew up literally being raised by her grandparents. So she doesn't want our kids to feel like they're being raised by our nanny or anybody else, or she doesn't want to feel like a single parent. So I need to do things, put systems and processes in place because I'm not naturally wired that way. So this is the work. These are the things that we have to work at. It's not natural for me. It's uncomfortable for me, but I'm thinking provide. But my wife is saying, be here, be here, be here. Now there's an aspect of being a tough decision maker of like, hey, I will be there at this time. This time I need to go do this deal. There's a time for that. And there's a time for like, you know what? Deals aren't the most important thing. My family is the most important thing. So it's having the understanding and discernment to know when to make that decision, to make those tough calls. That's being a better leader. But creating an environment where my wife feels she's not abandoned. My kids are not alone. She's not a single mother. I'm not just a provider. I'm not limited to the labels that society says that I have to be. I'm in control of my marriage. I'm not taking marriage advice from my parents. My parents have been divorced 3 times. I'm not taking business advice from people that don't know how to run a business. I'm not taking friend advice or parenting advice from people that have abandoned their kids. This is our marriage. This is our life. I'm the leader of our house. My wife needs this to feel supported. I need this to feel supported. What systems and processes can we put in place so that we can be the best people for ourselves? And then the world gets to see the fruit of that work, the fruit of that harvest. And I think that's what has helped me in my business so much, understanding that. And I've had exponential growth since understanding that. And I think a lot of people, if we step back and zoom out and look at what's really happening in our relationships, in our marriages, in our kids, that frustration of, I can't do this thing right now, or I can't be there, it really is underlying from something else. We just have to zoom out, peel those layers back, and then focus on that before we start trying to build a house. We got to fix that foundation. If you're the type of person that is trying your hardest right now, you're like, man, my wife, my husband doesn't support me, my friend, my family will not support me, you should probably share this episode with them. I think a lot of people could benefit from understanding what is happening, why it's happening, and how they can change it. And on this podcast, the Development League podcast is all about figuring out how to develop our skills, our mindset, our spirits, our overall life so that we can be better versions of ourselves and impact the people around us. And the most important people that are close to us, they need our assistance, and they need to understand that we're doing our best so that we can help them do their best when they can't do it for themselves. So if this episode has been helpful, share it with somebody. Don't keep it to yourself. And as always, on the D-League podcast, we are devoted to your development, but don't let us be more devoted than you. I'll see you in the next episode of 7 Minutes with Sam.